shall we begin?
Let the games begin.
All right.
A new age has begun. An age of freedom.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Get to the chopper!
This is going to be quite the ride.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Movie Pit Podcast. I am your host, Christian Renteria, and this, like I mentioned, is the Movie Pit Podcast, where we talk about all the big breaking movie news items that came out this week, along with the trailers that came out this week, and the movies that are out in theaters and streaming for all your viewing pleasures. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Movie News Roundup podcast. If you haven't checked it out yet, before we get to the podcast, at least further into the podcast, I did do a Batman reaction thoughts podcast episode that came out earlier this week. So if you haven't listened to that yet and you want to go hear my thoughts about the Batman, go check that out. But yeah, so let's just get right to the podcast. Not too much came out this week, but the stuff that did come out this week was pretty big. So let's just get right to it. Of course, we're going to start off with trailer talk.
Coming soon to theaters.
So we got a few trailers this week. We're not going to get really into all of them because a lot of them were kind of like on the short side, and some of them I didn't even watch because I did watch. There's one I didn't watch, which was the first one we're going to talk about, because I felt like I've already seen enough and I don't want to watch any more of it. They released a red band trailer for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's the new movie with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. So I didn't watch the trailer for that because I felt like I've seen enough of what I wanted to see from the first trailer. So it's a red band trailer, so obviously not safe for work, but again, I will link all these trailers down below, of course, but I didn't watch that trailer just because I felt like I've seen enough what I wanted to see, and I know enough of what I want to know from that movie, and it will open on April 22nd, so I mean, it's a little bit more than a month away, but I'm okay with that. Disney Plus released a trailer for their remake of Cheaper by the Dozen. That's going to come, like I mentioned, on Disney Plus. That will come out next week, so we'll talk a little bit more about that next week as well. But that came out. Pleasure, which is a movie by Neon Pictures, I think it's just Neon. I don't think it's Neon Pictures. I think it's just Neon. But they're the studio that released Ingrid Goes West, and right there, yeah, I think it was them. And then they released the Anne Hathaway movie that I can't remember what it was. Why can't I remember what it was? I'm seeing the title in my head, but am I seeing the title? I don't know. Colossus. There you go. That was the name of the movie. So they released that. I believe they also had a hand in releasing the Parasite. Of course, the movie that why am I blanking on his name? I'm blanking on everything right now. Wow, that's okay then. Bong Joon-ho. There you go. Why couldn't I think of that? Anyway, but they released a trailer for Pleasure. It's a movie. It's a movie about a woman who comes to America to start a porn career, and the trailer kind of really shows that they're not going to glamorize anything about the porn industry. So if you want to go check that out, there's a trailer for that. And then Hulu dropped a new trailer for their psychological thriller Deep Water. That's the movie, of course, stars Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas, where they play a married couple and that are stuck in a loveless marriage, at least according to the description and everything like that. And to avoid a messy divorce, they decide to have an open marriage, or at least Ben Affleck's character allows Ana de Armas' character to go see other people, and it doesn't necessarily turn out great, at least especially from the trailer. I mean, the last trailer we got was really more of a teaser. We see a little bit of that teaser here in this new trailer that dropped. And I don't know. I mean, this movie, it went through a lot because it was supposed to come out in theaters, and then they pretty much just dropped it on Hulu. So I don't know if they don't trust it or not. I mean, you got Ben Affleck, you got Ana de Armas. You have a pretty decent cast in there from what we were able to see. Little Ray Howley's in there. Looks like he's playing one of the friends of Ben Affleck's character. It's directed by Adrian Lyne, who directed Indecent Proposal and Fatal Attraction. It is co-written by Sam Levinson, the creator of Euphoria. So there's a lot of big things in this movie, and for whatever reason they're just like, nope, we're just gonna drop it on drop it on Hulu, whatever the reason. Maybe it's behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, the very public romance of Ben Affleck and Anna de Armas, and then the breakup. So who knows? Maybe they just didn't want them to do press together. Who knows? But regardless, Deepwater will come out on Hulu on March 18th. That's also next week. So I'll probably end up watching that and maybe talking about it on the podcast, or at least on the social media accounts. But there you go. Those are all the trailers that dropped this week, at least at the time of this recording, or at least that I was able to pinpoint. Obviously, sometimes things get past me. So if that is the case, whatever the case is, regardless of that, I will link all the trailers that came out this week down below in the description/show notes area, so you guys can go see them for the first time or see them all over again. All right, that's trailer talk. Let us get to the big movie news items of the week. All right, so the first movie news item we're going to talk about this week is a Billy Joel biopic is going into development from Gigantic Studios, which will be titled Piano Man. The biopic will follow the early years of Joel's career from his first manager, Erwin Mauser, who discovered Joel's talents at 16, to performing his numerous bands, to his first solo album, and then signing on to Columbia Records when the legendary Clive Davis found him and signed him in 1973. Adam Ripp, who directed a movie called Devil's Whisper, I believe this will be his first kind of like real big feature film, will write and direct the movie, although reports note that the movie does not have any rights to Joel, his music, his name or likeness, nor is he involved in the project. Instead, they have the rights to the life of Mauser, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, his manager, who managed him the whole time before he broke out, and are working on the specifics to get the music they need. By the way, Gigantic Studios is the production banner for Michael Jai White. Yes, that Michael Jai White, Spawn, Black Dynamite himself. So he's producing this, and he considers himself a Billy Joel fan and actually considers Joel part of the Mount Rushmore of American music. So that's pretty cool for him. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how this plays out, because again, it's not necessarily a Billy Joel biopic. They have the life rights to his manager and not actually Billy Joel, which includes his music and name and likeness. So that's going to be, I don't know how messy that's going to get, but we'll obviously have to wait and see on that project. The next movie news I'm going to talk about is another one of John Green's novels is getting an adaptation. It is Turtles All the Way Down, and it already has a writer, director, and star. Actress turned director Hannah Marks, who co-directed After Everything, and recently the 2021 Tribeca Film Festival Best Screenplay award-winning film Mark, Mary, and Some Other People. She will direct off the script by Isaac Aptaker and Elizabeth Berger, best known for showrunning the show This Is Us, and for writing the script for Love, Simon. And leading the movie will be Isabella Merced, another who actually appeared in another one of John Green's adaptations, Netflix's Let It Snow. She also appeared in Sicario Día del Soldado, which is the second one, and she was also Dora in Dora and the Lost City, or the Lost City of Gold, rather. And she's also going to be in the upcoming remake of The Father of the Bride, which will be on HBO Max. We'll talk a little bit about HBO Max in a second. The novel does tell the story of a 17-year-old Asa Holmes trying to be a good daughter, a good friend, and a good student, all while navigating the endless barrage of invasive, obsessive thoughts that she cannot control. When circumstances reconnect Holmes with her childhood crush, she is confronted with fundamental questions about her potential for love, happiness, and friendship, and hope in the face of her mental illness. The movie is been in the works for a while, at least from other reports. It was actually the first book that Green published after The Fault in Our Stars, and we all know how that book blowed up, and then the movie blew up, of course, as well. And it was picked up by Fox 2000 in 2017. Of course, Fox 2000 was a division of Fox Studios. In fact, Aptaker, Berger, and Marks were all involved during that part of the development, and then when Fox was bought by Disney, the rights reverted back to the other production company attached to the project, which was Temple Hill, which regrouped and then tried to find another studio, and they found one in Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema, or more particularly New Line Cinema, because they thought it would be a good fit for HBO Max, since New Line Cinema is a part of Warner Brothers, because they released another serious topic movie that dropped earlier this year called The Fallout, which I've been meaning to watch, that deals with the aftermath of certain students, or one particular student played by another young actress, up and coming, Jenny Ortega, who was recently in Scream. She played the sister of the main character, about a school shooting. So very serious topics on both ends, and I guess New Line Cinema thought that it would be a good fit since The Fallout got a lot of great reviews from fans and critics alike. So why not? Filming is expected to begin in April, so we may be expecting some more casting along the way if they obviously keep that April filming date. So there you go. Another John Green adaptation on the way. I think the only John Green adaptation I've seen, and I'm ashamed to say this out loud, is Paper Towns. And that was the only one that I actually watched. And I enjoyed it for what it was, but I haven't seen The Fault in Our Stars. I know a lot of people probably audibly gasped when I said that, but I'll watch it eventually. Settle down. I'll watch it. Moving on. Sticking with HBO Max. This was actually unintentional in my outline, but hey, segues. Warner Brothers and DC Films' Blue Beetle has added some names to the cast. The movie already has their Blue Beetle in, not Jaime Reyes. Jaime Reyes is the character. The actor who's playing Jaime Reyes is from the TV series Cobra Kai. Xolo Madrileña? I should probably know how to say that because he's Mexican. But he plays Miguel in the Cobra Kai series, like I mentioned. He's playing Jaime Reyes, the young Latino man who becomes a superhero after acquiring an alien supersuit. The names that added to the cast this week are Bruna, I'm going to mispronounce her last name, Mara Quenzine. She's a Brazilian actress, making her Hollywood debut. She's done a lot of stuff over in Brazil, so she's making the jump over to Hollywood. She will be playing Penny, which is a love interest to Jamie, although from what I can find, there was no actual comic book counterpart, so I don't know, maybe she's just a character, combined of other characters about. For the love interest, I don't know a lot about Blue Beetle. I'm going to be flat out honest, but at least at least this is what we're getting. The other actresses that join is Belissa Escobedo. She was in the she was in the Hulu movie. I can't talk today. The Hulu movie. It's not just the podcast. It's been all day. Anyway, the Hulu movie Sex Appeal. She was also going to be in the upcoming Hocus Pocus 2. So she's making a pretty big jump. She will be playing Jamie's younger sister, Milagros Reyes, who does exist in the comics. So we have that. And Harvey Guillén, aka Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series. He's going to be part of the cast as well, although there's no word on who he is playing just yet. So there you go. Behind the camera is Puerto Rican director Angel Manuel Soto, who directed Charm City Kings, which I believe is also on HBO Max if you want to go check that out. And writing is Mexican director Garwith Dunnitz Orcosillo, who has written a lot of short films. His first feature writing credit was for Miss Bala, which came out a handful of years ago, which I did see. Not a big fan of it, but I don't know if it was necessarily the writing or if it was just the movie itself. But Blue Beetle will stream on, I want to say, I think they were actually going to release it in theaters, or I think originally they were going to release it on HBO Max. So regardless of that, it does have a release date. It has a release date of August 18th, 2023. I forgot to look up if it was actually, because I remember there was reports saying that they were going to release it on HBO Max first, and then they were going to release it in theaters. But I thought I saw some reports that were still saying it was still streaming on HBO Max, so maybe they just got it wrong. So regardless of it, it does have a release date of August 18th, 2023. So there you go. Moving on to another comic book property, Christopher Abbott has joined Sony Pictures' Kraven the Hunter. Abbott has now joined Aaron Taylor Johnson, who will be playing Kraven himself, Russell Crowe, who is rumored to be playing his father in the movie, Adriana DuBois from West Side Story. She will be playing the character of Calypso, at least according to reports. Fred Hetchinger, I still can't pronounce his last name. He's from The White Lotus. He will be playing Chameleon, who is reportedly Kraven's brother in the movie, and Alessandro Navala, who is playing an unknown villain. Abbott's role has not been revealed. Reports are saying that he's playing a villain, and Deadline reports that he might be playing the villain, the Foreigner, which in the comics, besides being skilled in martial arts and good with weapons, he has the ability to induce hypnotic trances. So we don't know if maybe that is the case or not, if he's actually going to be playing the Foreigner, if they're going to switch up his abilities. Who knows, but Abbott is going to be there. Abbott did star in director J.C. Chandor's A Most Violent Year. He also appeared in the It Comes at Night movie, First Man, Black Bear, which is a kind of an indie movie that came out, kind of like him and Audrey Plaza in there. He plays pretty much the main male in that character. He was also in the TV series Girls, The Sinner, and recently in Catch-22. If you see his face, he was in there. He's also in the movie Possessor, if anyone saw that came out, I think last year or 2 years ago. But yeah, there you go. He's a very good actor. I've only seen him in a handful of stuff, but he's very good in what he's able to do and what they give him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with that. J.C. Chandor, by the way, besides directing A Most Violent Year, also directed the Netflix film Triple Frontier, and he'll be directing, of course, Kraven the Hunter, like I just mentioned, which currently has a release date of January 13th of next year. Who knows if that is the case, but with all these casting updates coming out, I'm assuming that filming is going to be underway soon. And we'll have to wait and see on that, because we all know what happened to Morbius. And if you've been paying attention to the news week this week, you know what happened to the other DC films, which we'll talk about in a little bit. That's our big movie news item of the week. So yeah. But before we get to all that, let's move on to the next movie news item. All right, so the next news item is some pretty exciting Dune news. Austin Butler and Florence Pugh are in talks to join Dune Part 2. Butler, who of course will be appearing as Elvis in the upcoming Elvis movie, is in negotiations to play, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, and I know all the people who are fans of Dune are going to butcher me for it, Fide Rothwa? Don't know if I said that right, but he is the nephew. I'll just say that because with the description, he is the nephew of Baron Harkonnen, who was played, of course, by Stellan Skarsgård in the newest Dune movie, and was played by Sting, not the wrestler, the singer, actor sometimes, in David Lynch's 1984 movie. If Pugh were to join, she'd be playing the character of Princess Urilan, the daughter of the much talked about Emperor, who was talked about a lot in the first movie, but never seen. He is that character, the Emperor, will be casted in this movie. They haven't casted him yet or released who is in talks to play him yet. So if they do, I'll break this movie news item right here and say who it is. But if not, we'll just keep going with the movie news item. Director Denis Villeneuve is still writing the script for the movie, and Pugh is reportedly waiting for the script before she signs on. Another possible holdback for Pugh not signing on is that Pugh is in consideration for the Madonna biopic, which could potentially film at the same time, or pre-production on that movie would start around the same time as well. And it's already been reported that the Madonna biopic will be a very extensive shoot for whoever gets the lead. So that would probably take Pugh away from any kind of sort of big projects for a bit, if she were, of course, to get that role, of course. However, all that said, the first Dune movie did do a good chunk of filming in Hungary, and obviously with everything going on in the Ukraine and Russia, the movie would either find a new place to film, especially considering it already has a release date for next year in October, and is expected to start filming this summer, or they already found the new place if they haven't already, so that won't necessarily be too much of an issue, but it should be noted that that's what's happening. Pugh is currently filming Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, which seems like everybody these days is in the movie, but we haven't talked about it because it feels like every day. It literally feels like every day there's a new casting update for Oppenheimer, and I feel like a lot of these people are just going to be like in the background for a lot of the movie. That's what it feels like. But anyway, she's currently filming that. She will be seen in Olivia Wilde's next directorial effort, Don't Worry, Darling, which is set to come out in September. Obviously, we'll talk about that movie when it comes closer to the release date. And recently, she finished filming the Netflix movie The Wonder. So Florence Pugh, very busy after blowing up. Of course, she also appeared in Hawkeye on Disney+. So very, very busy. But anyway, Dune Part 2, it's getting real. It's getting real. We're going to get it. And we'll obviously more people are joining in the cast. The already stacked cast as it is. Of course, everybody from the first movie that survived will be in this new one, or the second one rather. So there you go. Dune Part 2, like I mentioned, does have a release date for next year, and that's October 20th. Again, if no delays prevent that movie from happening. All right, let's talk about the big movie news item of the week, and the one that's it was so simple. It was just what started as a simple delay for Dwayne Johnson's projects in the DC universe, Black Adam and DC League of Super Pets. It became much more than that. And honestly, I'm not even surprised at this point. Really, are any of us really surprised at this point? So originally, Dwayne Johnson announced himself on his Instagram account that Black Adam was delaying its July release of this year to October 21st. And that DC's League of Super Pets, which is the animated movie where he does the animated voice for Superman's dog Krypto, will be moving from its May 20th release to the Black Adam spot on July 29th. No big deal, right? It's a nice little switch around. Okay, that's fine. It happens. Obviously, again, everything's still going on. It makes sense. Well, it was the wording that I think most people hopefully caught, because I caught it right away as soon as I saw that movie news item. And he said that Black Adam was going to play in theaters through the holidays. The Flash, mind you, was set to come out the first week of November, just a couple weeks after. And then Aquaman 2 was going to come out in December. Why would Warner Brothers and DC Films have their movies compete head-to-head like that? Because that makes no sense. Literally, a couple hours later, Warner Brothers announced several release date changes, most of them from their comic book properties. For starters, the aforementioned The Flash and Aquaman The Lost Kingdom have both been delayed to COVID-related production delays with visual effects. And Aquaman The Lost Kingdom will now move from its December release date to March 17th of next year. Meanwhile, The Flash will move from its November release date all the way to June 23rd of 2023. Of next year as well. Shazam, however, Fury of the Gods, is actually moving up, surprisingly. Originally, it was set to come out next year on June 2nd. It will now come out on December 12th. That is a massive change from their schedule. So that movie's pretty much done. They finished that and they're moving that up to this year. So we're going to be seeing a lot more Shazam, Fury of the Gods promos, I expect, coming out. I'm assuming we'll probably get a trailer sometime in the summer to hype up that movie. For its non-superhero movies, the Timothée Chalamet-led Wonka moves from its September 17th release of next year to it will stay within the release date for next year and the release schedule rather for next year, but it's moving from March 17th to December 15th. So it's moving from the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year next year. And the Meg 2, The Trench, which I believe is currently filming, or at least almost going to start production soon, that will come out on August 4th of next year. I don't think it had a release date because they didn't mention anything about a prior release date. So it looks like Warner Brothers just finally decided to plan a release date on that. So there you go. That's what's everything that's going on. So Meg 2, The Trench comes out on August 4th next year. Wonka will come out on December 15th next year. Shazam, Fury of the Gods will be moved up from next year to this year on December 12th. Aquaman and the Lost City will be coming out on March 17th next year. And The Flash will come out next year as well on June 23rd. All of this because of COVID-related production delays with visual effects. Nothing to do with filming or anything or reshoots or stuff like that. It's all has to do with visual effects and obviously, the protocols I assume they have on visual effects. I think they're still doing a lot of visual effects from people's homes and not necessarily in, the big, offices that they usually would do these visual effects. So yeah, like I mentioned, I'm not surprised. I mean, really, at this point, I don't think any of us should really be surprised with these. I mean, at least, again, they're saying that it's related to COVID production delays on visual effects. It's not like, we just, we announced these movies, this whole lineup of movies, and then we didn't realize that we had to actually film all of these, and then, we're going to push them back. So I think it just makes it worse that, they've been touting that they're going to be releasing all these movies this year. They released that big mega trailer with the Batman, the Flash, and Aquaman, showing all those movies together they were going to be releasing. I've been seeing that play Black Adam as well. I've been seeing that get played a lot, and now that that's not the case, it's kind of a bummer. But at least we're getting Shazam. I mean, it feels like it's like, okay, yeah, we're not getting any of these movies, but we're getting Shazam surprisingly, and it's I know they've been done filming that movie for a while, so I guess a lot of it was just a lot of special effects stuff, or they were just waiting. But the fact that they're going to push that up and then delay everything else, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's again not surprising, but at the same time, it's like they're doing it again. They're shooting themselves. They're releasing, like, they didn't have to release that trailer of all the movies they were going to release this year. They didn't have to do that. They did that because they were confident that they were going to be releasing all of those movies. And look, it didn't happen. This is that Comic-Con situation, like what felt like a million years ago now, where they were like, yeah, we're going to be releasing all these movies. We're going to be releasing a Cyborg movie. We're going to be releasing a Flash movie. We're going to be releasing the Green Lantern Corps. We're going to be releasing Batwoman. And they haven't done any of that. The Flash movie has been delayed so many times. I mean, I just, I don't know what to say. I'm not even that excited for it. I'm not even that excited for a lot of these movies. I mean, I'm curious about Black Adam and the Flash and Aquaman. I would have given them a chance. I'm not going to say I'm not going to give them a chance. But my excitement level, not that high for those movies. And I'm not even that, excited for those movies. But at the same time, it's like just seeing what they're doing all over again, what they did years and years ago, and it happening again to them. Granted, there wasn't a pandemic going around. Obviously, this is, like I mentioned, this isn't we're releasing all these movies and then you never release them. It's like, no, you film these movies. You're just not releasing them because of COVID and everything that's going on, because it's not how it was before. You don't have, you can't have a bunch of editors and directors and, producers in a room while there's still COVID going on, doing, special effects and, overlaying stuff and a bunch of stuff like that. Not like you'd have before. And a lot of times, a lot of these, it's been reported. I think James Gunn himself is like, I edited the Suicide Squad at home and was, doing the visual effects stuff and score and stuff over Zoom with the people, that he had sent it to. So, they're still doing that in Hollywood, which is good. It's nice they're still, taking precautions and stuff, but it just sucks that, we, the fans who were probably very excited that we're finally getting these movies out, have to wait a little bit longer because of, they didn't anticipate enough, or they didn't plan well enough to realize, oh, we're not actually going to finish the visual effects for this movie. Like I mentioned, I'm not surprised. I don't know if I'm not necessarily bummed. I am a little bummed out because I was very curious for these movies. I mean, we're still getting Black Adam this year, which is the movie that I was most curious about from the bunch. So that's cool. But as for The Flash and for Aquaman, again, not necessarily too excited for those movies, but I've talked about many times, many of the delays of The Flash. The Flash probably famously was the only time I really ever got heated up, even though I wasn't that excited for it back then either. But I was just more upset about the whole, stopping and going. Oh, we got a director. Oh, we don't anymore because of creative differences, like 3 different times. And Aquaman, the first one was okay. I wasn't that, it was fine. Yeah, I wasn't that too excited for it. And then, we got the sequel now. And I'm going to go watch. I'm not going to say I'm not going to go watch it. Like I can be kind of hard on myself and hire these movies, but like, I'm not going to go watch that. But like reality, like, no, I'm going to go watch it. But I don't know. I just, the move, not so surprising at this point. It's Warner Brothers. It's this DC Films and Warner Brothers. I love Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is one of my favorite studios. I've been on the backlot. I've done that backlot tour. I love that backlot tour. That backlot tour is awesome. But when it comes to the DC properties, it just sometimes feels like they're getting ahead of themselves. Back then it was easy to be like, oh, they're just, trying to keep up with Marvel. But Marvel is this well-oiled machine that, no one can keep up with and no one can really replicate. And if they try to, it doesn't come out, that well. And DC, for their credit, when they're doing their standalone stuff, the Batman, obviously it's going to be its own standalone thing. It's not connected to the overall DC connected universe, whatever they're calling it. They have their Joker movie, which is also not connected. Not the biggest fan of Joker, but they had that, and it was a success critically, and amongst some fans as well. But when it comes to them, and their superhero properties, they're at least taking some risks and they're taking certain chances and stuff like that, which I appreciate, and it's noteworthy and it's admirable. But sometimes they just shoot themselves in the foot, when they don't have to, and this is one of those times. All right. That's all the movie news. That is all the movie news that has come out this week. I'll see if anything else big drops. I'll either drop it right here, or if it's already, podcast is already out into the world, then you can go over to the Twitter page and I'll update you guys over there. All right. That said, let us move on to the movies coming out this week in theaters and streaming for all your viewing pleasures.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right. So we only have 3 movies that are coming out this weekend, at least from what I was able to get. So we're going to talk about the movie that are coming out in theaters first. It's only one. It's a limited release. It's called Gold. And the synopsis reads like so: in the not too distant future, a drifter, played by Zac Efron, traveling through the desert, discovers the largest gold nugget ever found. He must guard it from thieves and the harsh conditions and wild dogs while waiting for his partner to return. The movie is co-written and directed by Anthony Hayes, who has done a lot of work over in Australia, being an Australian actor and director. Hayes also co-stars in the movie. He's actually playing Efron's partner. That's mentioned in the synopsis. This movie, it looks interesting. I think if anything, people have seen the picture of Zac Efron all like dirty, and that's kind of where this picture, because I saw the picture of Zac Efron all dirty, and I was like, what is that from? It's from Gold. So it's a limited release. It'll probably be getting, a kind of a VOD release in sometime in the future. Probably, that's kind of how limited releases work nowadays. Come on in theaters and for like a few weeks, and then they go, straight to VOD and stuff like that. So, but the big movies coming out this week are actually on the streaming platforms. The first one is the Disney Plus release Turning Red. That is, of course, about a young girl who finds out that when her emotions get the best of her, she turns into a giant red panda. So there is that. That looks pretty cute. So I'm not gonna lie, it looks cute, and it's a movie that I wasn't necessarily looking forward toward for the first trailer, and then the second trailer really kind of sold me on it. And I get that feeling a lot now from the Disney kind of Pixar movies, like. I think it was for like 3 movies now in a row where it feels like I'm not really excited for it, and they drop like the next trailer. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm in. It happened with Luca, it happened with Encanto, and now it's happening with Turning. It happened with Turning Red. First trailer came out, okay, yeah, I guess I'll end up watching that. And the second trailer drops, it's like, no, okay, no, yeah, I get it now. Of course, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that. So yeah, there you go, Turning Red on Disney Plus this week. And the next big movie coming out is on Netflix. It's The Atom Project. We've talked about The Atom Project here on the podcast. That's the Ryan Reynolds movie where he's from the future and he travels to the present to meet a younger version of himself. And they have to go find their father, played by Mark Ruffalo, who is the kind of like the quote unquote grandfather of time travel in the future. And they have to, save the world. So there you go. Zoe Saldana's in there as well. She plays like someone from the future that Ryan Reynolds' character knows. Jennifer Gardner's in there. She plays the mother of the Ryans, I guess, of the Ryan characters. But yeah, it looks fun. It looks great. People got an early screening of that, saying that it's really good. A lot of the early word of mouth is that it's a very good movie. It's very early Steven Spielberg coming of age movie, sci-fi. It's all really good. So I can't wait to watch The Atom Project on Netflix. Maybe we'll talk about it here on the podcast. If not, we'll definitely talk about it on the social media accounts. So there you go. Gold, limited release in theaters, but the big movies coming out, like I mentioned, are both on streaming. Disney Plus has Turning Red and Netflix has The Atom Project. And that's it, everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast this week. I very much appreciate it. Like I mentioned, it wasn't necessarily a big week for movie news, but the movie news that did come out was pretty big in itself. So thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Very much appreciated, no matter where you're listening to. If you're listening to this on YouTube, go drop in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the movie news this week. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a review, because those really help out in the long run. I would really like a review on Apple Podcasts. I'd appreciate that. But you can also listen to the podcast on Stitcher and Spotify. We are also now on Anchor. If you get your podcasts through Anchor, we're now on Anchor. That's pretty cool. So I can't wait for that. I'm going to do my Anchor promo at some point. But I'm also on Anchor now if you want to go check that out, which is pretty cool. Yeah, go check out all the links down below in the description/show notes area. All the trailers are down there. All the social media accounts are down there. I'm trying to be a little bit more active recently on social media, and I apologize for not doing so. Just work has been very, very hard. Not hard, but very extensive these past couple months. So I think everything's kind of leaning a little bit lesser. I'm not saying to have free time, but I will be a little bit more active on social media now that this school year is kind of ending. Being a substitute teacher and all, obviously there's always need for subs, especially here in Chicago. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast this week. I think I've said that already like 5 times, so take another drink. Don't do that. No, don't do that. All right. That's it. Thank you guys. I will see you guys next time. And remember to continue to be good people. Be good people. If you're not already, how dare you? Be a good person. It's not that hard. Don't be a dick. And I'll go watch. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's one of those weeks. I apologize. Go watch some movies. All right. I'm done.
Whoop, whoop! Yeah! Give it up! Movies!